Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Show on the Gruely True Sports Network. I'm your co-host, Mike Goodpaster, here with Hoosier legend Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
It's Friday.
Yeah, but you don't really have a job, do you?
We don't have to do one of these silly shows tomorrow.
Well, we're running out of guys. And yesterday, I forgot the guy who I like the best is the one guy we'd forgot to do, which is T.J Otzelberger, who is the head basketball coach at Iowa State. Steve, did you get a chance to look at him a little bit?
Yes, I did.
And what do you think?
I think he's got a good, impressive coaching record. Success pretty much everywhere he's gone, with maybe the exception of UNLV. Although I think you'll refute that, saying where he took UNLV from to where
He
they
did all
ended
right.
up.
I wouldn't make the claim that he did a great job
No,
at
but it's the
UNLV.
only place where he didn't walk away with a winning record or NCAA appearances. Yeah, I like his philosophies a lot. He's a kind of a regimented type coach, kind of more of like a Bob Knight. He's regimented with a purpose, which I really like. I mean, he's kind of one of those guys. I was reading about him and said he sets his alarm for 4:59 because he believes everybody starts, the early birds get up in the 5 o'clock
And so
hour.
my alarm set at 4:55. My alarm set at 4:55.
Yeah, I guess you guys all have that same OCD complex that you've got to think that by waking up 5 minutes for everybody else, it makes you better and sharper. There's a little thing called talent that's involved in there. But anyway, nonetheless,
When you get up at 4:55 and you have the talent, Steve, you're hard to contain.
Yeah, he's very defensive minded, believes in a lot of using your hands a lot defensively, and likes to play pressure everywhere on the court. Something that the Hoosier fans would be very used to, and that was the old Indiana style of basketball. Well versed in his training, spent time under Fred Hoiberg, so he'll have a decent offensive strategy. As we would classify Hoiberg as more of an offensive-minded coach. Offensively, defensively, he's real tough-minded. He believes in defense. Everything I read about him, it always started with his defense.
Hey, Robert just lost to Jay. Jay said hi first. How you doing, Jay? Go ahead.
You guys. I was in the middle of something, and you're worried about what the hell Robert's got to say or Jay's got to say.
I'm worried about the people.
I'm worried about the guy that we want to be our next coach, so we don't get back in the same.
I'm more worried about Jay's knee. So
stink pile we've been in for God knows how long. But everything that I read and pulled up and started reading about him, digging into him, defense always came up first, which I like that. That's how I was brought up in college basketball. That's what won us championships in Big Ten tournament. 2 Big Tens, an NIT and an NCAA was defense, and everybody knows that. It's no big secret. So that always came up first in all the conversation with him. Good philosophy defensively. He's big into transition, getting his teams back defensively. He keeps his practices real simple in the sense that he pretty much, once he starts practice, they do the same thing every day. They basically get we did that in Indiana. We got a scheduled practice schedule when we just taped it in our locker, and it was identical every day of the week. We knew it. 250 to 320, we were doing shooting and warm-up drills. At 320, we were doing 5-man run the court drill, conditioning a little bit, 3-on-2, 2-on-1, defensive rounding and transition, and then it went on to breaking it down. But we had that same schedule like he likes to employ in his practices. Get everybody regimented, get everybody so when they get into a game, they're not surprised by anything because it's what they're used to doing. And when the team does that, I believe through my dealings with Knight, teams tend to worry about more how they're playing rather than how their opponents are playing. And while I think you have to be able to read your opponents and make adjustments in a game, still, Knight always said, your opponent in the game is yourself. It's your opponent is your ability to play to your potential. And I think that I really took away from my messaging and reading about Otzelberger, Oslin. I don't know how you say
Call
it.
him Oz. Go ahead.
On TJ from here on out.
Yeah, that's good.
TJ was he employed that same type of philosophy. Offensively, he tended to be more of a free form, but not a regimented free form, much like a motion offense. A free form with a purpose. It's not just out there, dude, give me the ball, I'm open. Give me the three. I got the jacket, man. I got the jacket. It's my turn. It wasn't that kind of mentality. It was more of a let's see what they give us, and then let's be prepared to take what they give us and capitalize on it. So his coaching style, I really liked and thought was a great fit for the mentality and the culture that we all love and are endeared to in Indiana. I think the fans would like this guy. The downsides of him, he was born in 1977, which makes him, 48 years old?
47. That's not that old.
It's not that old, but, if we're looking for a 30, 32-year-old to stay with the program for 30 more years, but it's and nuts or candies and buds. Right now, let's get the best coach in there and just get the program turned around. Let's get us back on the map. And get the culture changed back to where we want it to be in Indiana. This guy fits the bill, and he's a good find on your part, Mike. I understand why you think so highly of him. I'll shut up and let you give your I'll let you talk about his new contract he signed, the buyouts, and what would entail to get him in here. So I've said enough. Take it away, Mike Goodpaster.
All right. Robert says, yo from Vero. By the way, I don't use an alarm. Robert says, well, at 70 years old, as someone that got up at 4 to 5 all my life, yeah, the early bird got the worm, but no one ever looked at it from the worm's perspective.
When Michael Joseph, what did I say about butts? I said, Joe, I like big butts and I cannot lie. I will not tell you why. You'll just have to look me in the eye. I'm not a rapper and I don't profess to be one.
That was horrible. You're almost worse than that. You're almost worse than Kendrick Lamar. But I could understand what you were talking about.
I know.
All right, so this is what I take on Otzelberger. When you look at him, he's a native of Wisconsin, so he's in the area of the Big Ten. Coached high school basketball, coached at a small college. But the thing I do like about him a lot is that he accepted the job as an assistant coach under Greg McDermott in 2006. McDermott's a guy I wouldn't mind seeing here either. But Otzelberger served as the lead recruiter and bench coach. And when McDermott left for Creighton in 2010, he was promoted to associate head coach under Fred Hoiberg. So he's coached under two, what I think are very good coaches. I think McDermott's outstanding, but Hoiberg's solid also.
I love Hoiberg. I'm surprised we haven't talked about Hoiberg.
With Hoiberg, they had strong recruiting classes. He was one of the main recruiters. They advanced to March Madness. I think they made it to the Final 8 one time. But the thing about him is this. You talked about the strong defense, which is definitely true. And Iowa State, the year before he got there, had a dismal 2-22 season. All right, including going winless in the Big 12 the year prior to Otzelberger, who instantly flipped the Cyclones' fortunes. The 47-year-old guided Iowa State to a 22-13 record and an NCAA Sweet 16 appearance in 2022 and 23. The strong defenses are big. The first year with Iowa State, they finished 5th in defensive efficiency, as well as top 25 in forced turnovers and steals. And right now, they're primed for a 4th straight NCAA tournament bid, potentially a big run. The other thing about Otzelberger is, if you say, is he gettable? He's been there for a while, but at 47 years old, you can see another 20 or 25 years somewhere else. He had just signed a new contract. The thing about the new contract, though, it made him more gettable because what Indiana would have to pay to get him, the buyout clause, shrunk dramatically on Otzelberger. So that is also a good thing. But also, if you go back and you look, you talked about UNLV, but the other thing that strikes me is that he took South Dakota State, I think, to a couple NCAA tournaments, which pretty impressive. He won a couple conference regular season and tournament titles. The man can obviously coach in March. He's proven that. So, Steve, I think this is a guy right now that checks all the boxes. I mean, his ability to recruit and especially maintain talent, I think, is the one aspect that makes him a big-time viable candidate for this job. So, I mean,
Yeah,
when you look at it, he fits the bill.
yeah. South Dakota State, he also was the Summit Coach of the Year in 2017, 2018, and a Naismith Award semifinalist. Was it last year, 23, 24? Would that have been last year, 24, 25? Yeah, that had been last year. So, you know, he's danced a lot. I mean, you know, 3 of 3 seasons at South Dakota State, it looks like. Well, regular season champion. I don't know if they got a at-large bid in.
Yeah, they made it, I think, twice, 2 out of 3 years. They won 3 conference titles,
Did not
2
make it at
conference champions.
UNLV, but every year he's taken. He's been near at Iowa State now. This is his 4th season. He's three for 3 dancing. We cannot say that right now.
All right, we got some comments. We got Brian Wetters. I'd be shocked if TJ leaves Iowa State. I think Ben McCollum is the man to pursue, but Iowa likely is also contending for a cert. I would say this. You pursue your top 10. You talk to them all. You vet them, and you see who the best guy is. David Clay says, DJ sounds great. I think he means TJ. Same age as Dusty May. He's a little bit older than Dusty May. And Mr. Risley has learned how to rap with the W in California. So you wrote rap as good as Steve rapped.
Oh, yeah, we have California raps out here. They're good.
Robert Schwartz says, keep hearing both Otzelberger and Drew's names brought up. From what I've read about both, they appear to have both strong ties to their programs and communities. Yeah, but you know what? Strong ties can be taken down by an extra $3 or $4 million. We've seen it done before. Yeah. Robert Stewart says, is Crybaby Fran retiring, or do we think he's getting fired? I think there's a decent shot he gets fired. The one thing that might save him is Owen Freeman, their big man at Iowa, is going to miss. He's missed the last 6 or 7 games. He's going to miss the rest of the regular season. He'll miss the Big Ten tournament. So maybe they give Fran a pass there, because I will give you this. I don't think Fran's a great coach. He's a great offensive coach. His defense is horrible, but they are usually competitive. And I don't know if he's beloved there or not, because I'm not in Iowa. I can't imagine he would be, because he seems like a big old fat crybaby. He's not bad, of course, but he's a skinny crybaby. And I would think that if I'm Iowa right now, I would tell him retire or get fired. And then I throw the house at Ben McCollum.
Are you looking for me for a comment on that? I agree with you.
Well, I mean, it was.
I think the thing about these guys we're mentioning, they're all upper echelon coaches that we're talking about. We're not the only one looking for a coach, and right now we probably, while we have a lot to offer because it's still a blue blood program, it's still Indiana. There's still a lot of banners hanging there, and it's a program that's resurrectable pretty quickly. I think. I don't think that there's a lot of cement laying there. I think there's a lot of dirt. You just got to move. And if you get it moved, I think you've got a really good foundation still.
Steve, my question is this, real quick. You said it's a blue blood program. A blue blood program that's been to the tournament 6 times in the last 17 years.
Well, who defines that?
Well, a blue blood program to me
you're saying a blue blood, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're elite programs. I mean, elite programs are UConn, Duke, unfortunately Kentucky, but they're battling to get out of that.
I don't know what the magic number is to be a blue blood program, but when somebody hangs more than 5 banners in their gym, I'd say they're a blue blood program.
Well, do you think UCLA is a blue blood program?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Why?
Because they're mentioned all the time. Anytime you talk college basketball in the West Coast, you talk UCLA.
No, people talk about UCLA because West Coast basketball is not that good.
No,
and it's not anymore.
We're arguing schematics. I believe still there are blue blood programs out there. North Carolina,
semantics.
Duke, IU.
Yeah, but all those
UConn,
programs have done something
Kentucky,
recently.
UCLA. Those are blue blood basketball.
You've given me all programs that have been to the Final Four.
I don't even consider Gonzaga a blue blood program. It's just it's a program with a good coach that's made a great run. You know, they've never won a tournament, never won one. and they've been they probably have more number one rankings.
I didn't think
than
anybody
in the last
claimed.
20 years.
I don't think anybody claimed they were a blue blood. Steve.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Right now, to me, a blue blood is somebody who's done it historically for a long period of time.
But you can't have a 40-year drought.
You what?
You can't have a 30 or 40-year drought.
They're the long guys are here. Good luck with this.
Are they? Do they have their green cards, Steve?
I don't know. I'm not getting into politics with
That's
you.
not politics. I was just checking.
Green cards are political right now.
What do we have on the show? Have them on the show.
What was your question about blue blood? What?
No, I just said I don't think that Indiana anymore is a blue blood program. I think you have to win.
I disagree.
Okay, so you can be an elite program even if you don't win. That makes sense to me. Robert Schwartz says, agree with Brian Wetters. Understand that McCollum is being tied to Iowa.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that New England Patriots are still a blue blood football program?
No.
No?
Dynasty's over.
Okay. Still think it's a 7 national NFL championships.
Well, the Chicago Bears have more than that. Do you consider them an elite program or franchise?
I think they're probably an elite franchise in the league. They're not necessarily.
Really? They're an elite franchise in the league, and they last won a Super Bowl.
Everything have to happen in the same 20 minutes of my life.
Why? What the dog? It's just the dogs.
I know, but nothing. Go ahead.
All right. Brian Wetters says, I disagree. Indiana has fallen out of major. They've never even won a Big Ten tournament. So, Brian, you don't disagree because you agree with me, and that puts you on the right side of the law.
What?
I said that Brian agrees with me, disagrees with you about the blue blood program.
You and Brian are both idiots.
Yeah, whatever. Coming from an idiot, I don't worry that much about it.
Okay, there you go. Then we're all idiots.
No, just you. But go ahead.
No,
And Joe Spillman.
No, Joe's not an idiot.
Joe's an idiot.
Joe's a law enforcer in VV, Indiana.
Robert says off the top of my head, Miami, Florida State, Virginia will be looking for coaches as well. What will they have to offer? Well, Miami's got a lot of money for every sport. They just screw it up every time they do it. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Is it the dog barking?
Yeah, it's the dog barking.
Oh, it's fine. Robert, Brian, Robert, they're all good with it. Right, guys? You know, you could have the dog come on the show and just talk. Yeah, I would say this. I would say Miami probably has a ton of money to offer. Florida State might. I don't know about Virginia.
Well, Indiana's got all the money they need to offer if they get the right coach.
Yeah, the question is this. Do you want to hang out in Miami's South Beach, or do you want to hang out in Bloomington?
Well, if I'm T.J. Otzelberger, I freaking want to win national championships. I want to hang banners.
So why would you come here?
If I do it in Bloomington, Indiana, or if I do it in South Beach in Miami, I want to go to the best place I can that's going to give me that opportunity.
So is Indiana a better opportunity?
Play in front of 17,000 people in great facilities. If I was me being a coach and I got an equal offer from Miami or Indiana, I'm going to Indiana.
I'm going to Miami.
Indiana's a bigger challenge. If I'm a coach who cares about what I'm doing.
Miami's terrible this year.
What?
Miami's terrible this year. It's not a bigger challenge.
Miami's a shot in the pan.
Really? They went to the Final Four a couple of years ago.
Okay, good for them.
I know, it doesn't count.
How many banners are they hanging in their gym for national championship?
Same amount as us over the last 35 years.
Okay.
Okay, so what about Virginia?
One, with a kid from Lawrence Central that led him there.
One from 5 or 6 years ago, though.
He tried to steal my scoring record.
He didn't steal. He didn't try to, Steve. He stole it.
No, he did not. Never did not outscore me.
Oh, Steve, he stole it.
I don't care if he claims to be a modern era player. He didn't outscore me.
It's gone, Steve.
And he did it in 4 years, and I did it in 3.
Why, did you only go to high school for 3 years?
Yeah, Lawrence Central was a 3-year high school then.
Would you go to 8th grade twice?
Yeah. Okay. At least I went to 8th grade, Mike.
I went to 8th grade. I was just asleep, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, I was.
Okay.
It was much easier that way.
All right. So we all agree Otzelberger would be a great choice for Indiana.
I think he would be. Is there anybody listening that doesn't think that? Brian Wetters says, you guys have done a great job breaking down the candidates, but we don't know what Scott Dolson or search firm has done. I don't see Texas Tech coaching leaving his native Texas. I don't either. He's a guy I would like to have, though, because I think he's a very good coach. And I mean, maybe him and Brad Stevens already have a deal and they're just waiting until the Final Four weekend to drop it. I don't think that's the case, by the way. I'm just saying we never know what he's doing. He may have a really good AAU coach he's had his eye on for a couple of years, too.
I may be negotiating with him for all you know.
No, you're not. Robert Swartz says to take on blue bloods, IU is both the tradition and history as a blue blood. They have stalled in the standing.
All right. Well, you know.
Yeah.
How many times, hey, Robert, how many times have you heard Andretti is slowing down? Andretti is slowing down. Only racing people would know what that means.
No, it just means that, once again, he blew the Indianapolis 500.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not racing.
But he's still considered one of the 2 or 3 greatest race car drivers of all time.
But you're the one making
the blue blood.
You're making the claim. How can you be like elite if you don't win championships, though? Especially in an individual
I'm going to believe my
sport.
Program is a blue blood program, and I'm going to believe I contributed to that along with a lot of other people.
You did. And then it went to hell because of the administration.
And it's fixable. It's fixable.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it's fixable.
Hopefully. We'll see.
So, all right. So we all like Otzelberger, right?
I think we do. Nobody said anything bad about him yet.
I think for these guys like that, they're going to try and cherry pick these guys, all the people we've talked about. I think it's going to take opportunity for growth, expansion, and money. Willingness to spend nil money, willingness to use the portal to your advantage, and to have a good base of freshmen and high school kids to pick from. Indiana still has that good base, especially somebody who coaches in the style that Otzelberger uses. He could, I think that, you know, we talk about, we don't see a lot of superstars out of the high school kids anymore. Everybody's cherry picking JUCO players or potential players that have already played a couple of years in college ball and getting 2 years out of them. Indiana still offers a good base of high school players, well coached generally, and given the style that Otzelberger has, I mean, I like this guy. I like him. I didn't see any baggage associated with him whatsoever that I could find.
Plus, I really believe he's the best coach available.
Yeah,
I think he's better than Chris Beard. I know everybody's in love with Chris Beard because of the Bob.
I'm not in love with Chris Beard. I like Chris Beard, and I can live with Chris Beard, but I just don't like the baggage. I just don't want to deal with the baggage.
Even without the baggage, I like.
He's not the best choice. All right, let me throw another name out there that I'm starting to hear more and more and more of, and you brought it up to me this morning. We were talking in pre-production. Brad Stevens. I'm hearing his name. Is he unhappy in Boston, Mike? Are you hearing anything that substantiates that?
I've heard people say that he's coming, but we also heard those rumors when they hired Mike Woodson. Maybe just Quinn Buckner refused to interview him because he wanted his buddy to get there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have a hard time believing Brad Stevens is going to come back a decade after coaching college basketball. Now, he was still young when he retired.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see him wanting to leave Boston. They got to be established out there. They've been out there, 10, 12, 13 years? First as a coach for 4 or 5 years and then as a front office person. He probably runs the damn team by now, and that's a blue blood program.
All right now, if you look at the NCAA tournament bracketology, Indiana has now moved up to they are first 4 out. It's Indiana, North Carolina, Xavier, and Georgia as the first 4 out.
Okay,
so, got to win some games.
I believe we have to win out and win 2 games.
I don't
in the tournament.
I think you could lose the Oregon game. I don't think
you can.
I think you can.
If we were last 4 in, I'd say yes. First 4 out, nope.
First 4 out.
You better not lose another game.
And those other teams will lose games too, Steve.
Well, there'll be 1 or 2 of them that'll win every game too.
Well, Steve, I think at the end, the only thing that will matter is the conference tournaments and how many teams that wouldn't have got in win their conference tournament.
You need some help from some other teams, like USC getting out and not being because I'm sure the Big Ten would love to get USC, get the West Coast teams involved in the tournament. They don't like the fact that USC.
All right, real quick, I want to ask a question, and it's of Robert Schwartz. Why do you prefer Beard over Otzelberger? Because Robert says Otz would be a big improvement. The question is he in consideration? Could he be pried away from ISU? Everything I know of, it is not a lot, but it's usually more to Steve. From everything I've heard, yes, he is under consideration. All right, Robert Schwartz again says Boston is for sale and new owners want to stop paying out so much money every year. And that is the one reason why I think it is possible that he would come here. Because also with the new owner, maybe they don't keep Brad Stevens. Maybe they've got their own guy. Celtics
were owned by the city anyway.
No, we went through this like a week ago, Steve. No,
what?
We went through this a week ago. No, you're thinking of the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I knew the Packers were too. I thought the Celtics.
They're not.
I thought at one point in time I was going to buy some Celtics stock.
No, you weren't. Maybe the Packers. Actually, I remember 6 or 7 years ago you telling me you might buy some Packers stock. So I think you're just getting it mixed up.
You're right. I'm an idiot.
And really, you can't buy Packers stock if you're a Colts fan. You'd cheer against yourself when the Packers play the Colts. Plus, that stock's actually worth nothing, and it's a big money scam to get money out of the Green Bay Packer fans. It's actually brilliant when you think about it. But, yeah, Robert.
Hey. You know what I found out?
What'd you found?
I found out that the Colts are going to play the Rams out here in SoFi.
You told us this yesterday, and it's going to be on TV.
No, but they're also going to play the Chargers at SoFi. They're going to play the Raiders at the Raiders.
Las Vegas.
And they're going to play Kansas City at Kansas City. Those are all TV markets that I get out here. And they're going to be hosting, and this will just make Kanye West happy as a lark. They're going to host a game in Berlin in the Olympic Stadium. So I'm going to get to see the Colts a minimum probably of 5 times on national TV.
If you didn't let your wife drag you over to LA, you'd be able to see them all.
I don't want to go to the games. There's no parking down there.
I'm just saying, you would be able to watch every game if your wife didn't.
You know what parking at SoFi is on game days? It's $100 just to get near the place.
You know what I think? I'm thinking about going on, and get a petition to send to Tia, basically asking for her to bring Steve Risley back to Indiana where he belongs because he's a legendary Hoosier. And I'm going to see if I can get everybody that I know to sign it. So once he gets that with 5 people signed on, it's going to be awesome. All right.
Brian Wetters back in Indiana.
Here's Brian Wetters. Number 1, McCollum. Number 2, Cronin. Number 3, Beard. Number 4, Alford. Number 5, Brownell. All right. I can tell you this.
Who looked at Waters? What the hell is he smoking this morning?
Wetters, I will tell you this. I would say that T.J. Otzelberger.
Cronin out. Beard, second tier. Alford. The dumbest move Indiana could make would be to bring Steve Alford to IU.
All right, here we go. This is Robert's answer to my question, Robert Schwartz. He says, good question. Beard could probably win immediately. That's my opinion. And you know about opinions. Not sure the other possible candidates, Otz included, will do the same. Now, I can tell you this. Otz went to Iowa State. They were 2-22. The next year, 22-13.
Put him in the dance.
Chris Beard, has he really done something like that in 1 year?
No.
I mean, right now, everybody freaks out about Ole Miss, but Ole Miss is what, 19-11, something like that, which not much different than Indiana's record.
Roberts
played a tougher schedule.
Waters and Schwartz are reasons why you have these things called armchair quarterbacks.
I like them both. You need to leave them alone. People are allowed to have their own opinions. If we all agreed, we wouldn't. If we all agreed, we'd never be able to do a show. It'd be boring. It'd be everybody patting each other on the ass saying good pitch.
I agree.
But you got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I think there's a lot of good candidates out there. And I think this, knowing Scott Dawson as little as I know him, it's going to be a name pulled out of a hat somewhere. We're like, who? Where?
Pat Knight, Marion University.
I think he's going after this guy out of Texas from Houston, trying to get the Houston coach. What's the Houston coach's name?
Sampson.
Yeah, some guy named Kelvin Sampson. I think
I
he's
would
trying to get
really
him.
highly doubt that he does that. I actually would not be against that, though.
What?
I wouldn't be against that, though. Dude has turned into a hell of a basketball coach.
He was a hell of a basketball coach.
He's turned into a hell of a basketball coach.
Okay.
He doesn't have to cheat now to do it. Of course, he's
That's
not.
what I mean. Cheating's off the table.
But he didn't cheat the last 7 or 8 years that I know of. And a lot of other stuff happened with Kelvin Sampson here around the IU basketball team.
We should offer your services over the search firm.
Huh?
You're damn good. Oh, thank you. That's kind of you to say, but I think
damn good. Brian, I love you. I'm just going to say it right now.
You what?
I said I love Brian. I mean, Robert, Robert's.
It doesn't bother me if you disagree with me. It just improves the conversation.
Exactly. That's what.
That's what we want to do.
I mean, it's not like you were Brian and put Steve Alford in your top 5. Come on.
What is it? What is it? Walton says that he learned from Wooden. If everybody agrees, you never have improvement.
I thought he learned if you own a business and you have a car dealership, give people cars, you can get better employees.
And Walton also said from
hey, David Clay says Sampson hasn't won a championship, but he's also at Houston, which was a program that was crap, but now they're in the top 5 or 10 every year.
Yeah. Walton also says, and this is a great one too, it's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be disagreeable. Right? Put that in your book. That's a good one.
He says none of that anymore.
See, you and I disagree. We're not disagreeable. We just disagree.
Well, we've come to the realization that we're both idiots, and we just shake it off when we disagree because we figure, hell, he's an idiot.
Right, but we're not disagreeable. No. We like each other, but we just disagree.
Yeah.
On some things.
I need an Indiana basketball hoodie, but I'm not doing it until they're good.
Like I think Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame.
There's no way Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame, and you know that.
I know. Yeah, they didn't do it when he was alive. It doesn't matter.
His contract says you can. Everybody's contract in baseball says you can't bet on baseball. He did. We're not going to have that conversation.
I agree.
This is neither the time nor the place, Stephen.
Yep. I have nothing but a piece of nostalgia for all you out there. This is actually my key to my room at the Cherry Tree Inn from Cherry Hills, New Jersey. In 1981, we won the national championship at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. I actually kept my key and I did not return it. It says if lost or found, put it in the mailbox and we'll be shipped back for free. I kept my key. This is my actual room key.
I would say
this is an important piece of IU history right here.
What do you say we do this? What do you say we call that hotel to see if it still exists, and then you can ask if you could return your key now?
They don't have keys anymore. They have card keys.
I know. You put the thing across the thing.
Yeah, I know.
Robert Stewart says, "Go Reds." There you go. It's a lot better being a Dodger fan.
I think anybody we've talked about people that we think would be good candidates for the program. We have not brought up any former players. We've not talked about Cheney. We've not talked about Alford. I think the experiment with IU people, including Dane Fife, for whatever reason, and I like Dane Fife. We did not talk about Mike, who's the guy at Mike Lewis. We didn't talk about any former IU players. I don't think that's a good
might be
fit.
Close to getting fired, so
I think the expectations are unrealistic for those guys. I think the expectations were unrealistic for Mike, but I think Mike came in with unrealistic resume. He did not have the college coaching experience, and I think that ended up in the long run hurting Mike.
Yeah, he can't coach basketball.
It hurting him as a college basketball coach in Indiana. I hope Mike still retains his love and adulation as one of the 3 or 4 greatest players ever to play for this program, one of the 3 or 4 greatest representatives of our program.
Do you think he's one of the 3 or 4 best players of all time?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he. I shudder to think.
Is he better than Isaiah?
Well, no, there's not an IU player better than Isaiah.
Benson.
Yeah, I'd say he's better. He's a better ball player than Kent Benson. Kent Benson did what? He averaged 13, 14 points, 15 points a game on a national championship team surrounded with
my question is
players.
Scott May.
Kent Benson would not have been Kent Benson at Purdue or Illinois or any other school I competed against in that same period of time.
Hey, Brian, if Michael Lewis is going to be a future IU coach, he needs to start winning some more games.
He's not going to be a future IU coach.
So
I
really,
think as long as
if I was naming it, Mike Woodson wouldn't be in my top 3 because my top 3 is Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
And believe it or not, George McGinnis would be number 2. It's just
for 1 year.
Yeah, but 31 points, 18 rebounds.
He's one of the greatest basketball players ever to come out of IU. I don't know that he's one of the greatest IU players.
Oh, he was much better than Mike Woodson. I mean, IU, if they'd had George McGinnis in the late 70s, would have won a national championship.
He was a better basketball player, yes.
What about
Steve
Steve
better
Alford?
IU basketball player? I don't know.
What about Steve Alford?
Steve has got to be in the top 5, top 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, he is. I mean,
should be an IU assistant. He cannot because Dolson called him like a couple weeks ago to ask him if he was interested in coming back. He has said no, so Steve's out.
Alford's ego is not ever going to allow him to be an assistant.
I'm talking about you, I think, Steve.
Oh, me? Should I be an assistant at IU? No.
I know because Tia won't let you.
You know what? Tia would be single real quick.
Maybe you could get your son a job as an Indiana assistant also. And
I think Indiana needs a lot more than I could offer them. Seriously. I appreciate the
David Clay says Calvert Chaney. That's a no. Has he ever coached basketball?
No, he's not coached.
I don't know why people's fascination is with having a former Indiana.
I had that for a while. The experiment went awry. It didn't work. And
there's really no former Hoosier that's qualified to do the job.
No, there really is no former. Hell, the most qualified may have been Jim Cruz.
No, he's an asshole. He is. I've met him. He's a flaming asshole. Am I wrong?
Oh no, he got me in trouble. His wife got me in trouble.
He's an asshole, Steve. You can just it's okay.
He was. You didn't talk around him. Let's say that because whatever you said to him went straight to night. Yeah. He would always come into the locker room and sit down with you and say, "Come on, you can talk to me one-on-one. I was a player like this. I know what you're going through." You tell him what you were going through, and then 2 weeks later you'd be in practice and screw up.
Wait a second.
Well, God damn it, Risley! If you weren't just worried about doing this, that, I'm like,
wait a second.
The only person I said that to was Cruz 2 weeks ago.
Robert Stewart's top 3 IU players: Isaiah Thomas, Calvert Chaney, Trace Jackson Davis. I could go with Isaiah and Chaney. I don't think Trace
Davis is not in the top 3 IU players.
I think he's between 5 and 10.
He's in the top 10, but not in the top 3.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about him. But I mean, that would be my top 3. I mean, Calvert was a stud.
I mean, Isaiah is number 1 by a mile. It's not even close.
I do think Calvert's number 2, though. I can go with that.
Hey, Calvert never won anything, though.
Yeah, so neither did Mike Woodson, and you tried to say he was great.
I didn't say Mike was in the top 3. I said he's a top 5 or top 10 player.
You said top 3, Steve.
I did not.
Okay, anybody hear Steve say he was in the top 3 at the point?
You said he was in the top 3. You mistook. You said who my 03 top 3 are.
I never said Mike Woodson. I said I like George McGinnis. I said I like Isaiah. I couldn't come up in a third, but it's Calvert Chaney.
I like Isaiah. I like Quinn Buckner. I think Quinn Buckner is a great IU ball player.
I met him too. He's an asshole too.
So we're all assholes.
Reggie Miller's really
nice. You think I'm an asshole?
I know you're an asshole. That's why we get along. I'm an asshole. I'm not saying that these people that I call assholes are any different than me.
I think Quinn would be in the top 5. If you guys want to start playing this game. What? Alford would be in the top 5.
Everybody can't.
I mean, we didn't even talk about Damon Bailey yet. Bailey was a great ball player.
Yes,
whether
Damon
he's
would be top 10, maybe top 10, maybe top 10.
He'd be top 10. I don't
know.
know.
The thing that hurt Damon Bailey was the fact that the expectations were so high. There's no way he could have ever lived up.
No, I know that poor kid came into it.
He had to win 4 straight national championships and been the player of the year all 4 years.
Yeah, Walt Bellamy. We even talk about Walt Bellamy.
Yeah, Mike Wilson ain't near the top 3, like you said.
Don Schlunt was a great player. The McLaughlin brothers.
What were the other brothers? The Van Arsdale.
Van Arsdale brothers. Not
Steve Downing.
McLaughlin. I'm talking about the Van Arsdale brothers.
Steve Downing.
Steve Downing was a great player.
Scott May. What I liked that people don't really remember, and I can't even remember his name right now, so why would I bring it up? Bobby Wilkerson. He was good.
Bobby Wilk was he was a good role player. He was kind of like a Whitman. I
Oh,
always
I thought you were
compared.
going to say like me. I was going to pull up stats.
No, I'm not in the picture of anything. Okay, I'm on
I'm
nobody's
just
list
saying,
of
I'm not
anything.
trying to be mean.
I have a ring. I'm fortunate enough to have gotten to play on a team, and I got to play. So I didn't just ride the bench and
Wait a
collect the
second.
ring and go on.
Brian Wetters says Isaiah, George, Randy Whitman, Calvert, and TJD. I
Witt
think
was
the
a good player, but
Randy
Witt
Whitman
wasn't.
shouldn't be. Well, unless it's your 5 favorite players.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Because really, I mean, Steve Alford.
All right.
Jimmy Rail. There you go, Jimmy Rail.
We got our list, Mike. Who do you want as a coach? If you could have anyone, and they'll say yes, any one of the guys we've talked about over the week.
I would say if I go with my top 3, I would say T.J. Otzelberger, Ben McCollum. Trying to remember who we did. And Chris Beard would be my number 3.
I think I'd be right about the same boat.
You just don't want to think, do you?
No, not at all. No. I think I wish Chris did not have the baggage. I just don't want baggage.
Well, we don't know.
I don't want to overlook baggage anymore. I don't
know that he has baggage. This may not have been his fault at all. That's the scary thing about this.
It's still baggage.
I know, but it may be not imposed by himself. But then if she was the issue, then we know that he's not really a good recruiter.
Well, when she shows up with a busted up eye and bruising all over her face.
She could have pushed herself in the face.
Yeah. My gut feeling is she pushed herself to the bank with the money that the university gave her to shut up.
They didn't give her money because she didn't shut up, and Texas fired him.
Well, Ole Miss paid her to shut up then.
All right, Steve, you want to come back Monday and we can recap Washington, preview Oregon, and maybe some kind of rumors will break over the weekend?
Do I have a choice?
Robert does not want either one of us to wear a beard. It says no beard.
Hey, Greeno was a good player too, Robert. So
yeah, why would
there's
Robert
a lot of
put a Steve Green?
There's a lot of great players that have played.
You know, the thing that stuck for Green, he was about the only senior on the 75 team, so he never got to win at all.
Neither did Laskowski.
Yeah, but he got to be on TV at least.
There's two guys that probably should have gotten a ring.
Laskowski was a hell of a player.
Woodson should have probably gotten a ring too.
Why? Just giving him away for fun?
No, I think Mike made enough sacrifice and commitments to the basketball.
Yeah, but you can say that any basketball team that ever lived, the dude that busted their ass deserved a ring, but you got to bring everybody else with you.
Mike not only busted his ass, he was productive.
See, I think this, Robert. I think that you are correct. I don't think Chris Beard will even be considered.
I don't think he's going to be considered either, really truthfully. I think that's us.
Yeah, that's because of the Bob Knight connection. And actually, it was because I couldn't think of a third person at the time, so I went with it, honestly. So
yeah,
it happens from sometimes. What do you think about Vern Payne, Steve?
Vern Payne?
Yes.
Where's he at?
Well, that's the name he put up for great Indiana basketball players, Vernon Payne.
I didn't put him up. He's an old guy.
He's an old guy. You're an old guy.
Well, no, he was on the 53 team, wasn't he, or 40?
So you don't know who Vern Payne is?
No, I know the name, but I don't.
Well, I know I think he scored over 1,000 points.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
What's really funny is
he was like on the 65, 66, 67 team, but I'm not sure. Landon Turner on Steve's team.
No, Landon's not in the top 10.
Landon was dominant during the tournament run.
Landon was dominant because he had great players around him.
And Robert Schwartz, the NIT, it means something because we beat Purdue.
If you people had any idea how much Landon had to be managed by everybody had to manage Landon.
Yeah.
He's a great gifted athlete. But to make him a basketball player, he had to be managed by every player on the team. Ray took him under his wing. Ray Tolbert did. Isaiah did. Woody did when he was there. But Landon owes a big debt of gratitude to his success at IU to a lot of other people. And I love Landon. He was one of the funniest guys and one of the best teammates you'll ever have. He just had to be managed.
All right, so my question is this. UCLA Purdue tonight. UCLA is a 5.5-point underdog. Steve, who you got?
Where's the game at?
West Lafayette.
Purdue is
games.
reeling right now. UCLA, I'm going to go with the Bruins in an upset.
P-Ball's making jokes. How about Steve Risley? I would say this. I would think Purdue's weakness in why they've lost 4 games in a row is interior defense. The problem with that is UCLA really has no interior offense. UCLA defense is really good. Their offense struggles. But I don't think that they have the strengths that they have do not attack the weakness that Purdue has. I think Purdue covers the game tonight.
Dude, I think UCLA travels well. They've done well here in the Midwest.
But they have no low post presence, and that is what beats Purdue.
Okay.
The last 2 games, at least Purdue's given up around 40 posts.
I don't know. We started without our low post presence against Purdue.
Yeah,
went with a guard offense, and we beat them. We shut their guards down.
You're out of your freaking mind, Steve. You realize Indiana scored like 65% of their points from in the paint. I'm not talking about shutting their guards down. I'm sure UCLA can do that. I just don't know that UCLA can score enough points. Care.
I'm worried about getting Indiana in the dance. That's all I'm focused on right now.
You're so rude.
I don't care. I don't care about Purdue and UCLA. It matters not to me.
Jeez,
we are in control of our own destiny.
I was just trying to, start a conversation. I mean, you didn't have to get so mad.
We are in control of our own destiny.
Brian Wetters, UCLA 72, Purdue 70, 69. No, it wasn't. 1969. Without looking it up, I believe it was 90-72 or 92-70 in the national championship game. Now, he could be talking about the regular season game they played at West Lafayette, though, which I think was a 1 or 2 point game.
Yeah.
All right,
guys. Get Indiana by Washington, and then I've got to get Indiana by Oregon. Then I got to get them back here and get them to be ready to beat Ohio State. And senior night, let's get our seniors out of here. Callaway will be leaving after a 6-year in a wheelchair.
Callaway is going to refuse to leave. He's going to hold on. Leave.
Maybe Callaway is our next coach. What the hell?
Maybe you might as well let him. Hell,
might as well let him just stick around for another.
What is he now, 36? I mean, he's at the right age to be a head coach.
He's on the senior GI Bill, I think. He went and did 2 years
for World War II.
Afghanistan.
For World War II, Steve.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Make sure you follow Steve Risley.
Thanks to everybody for participating in our
it's been a great week. We've had like 40 or 50,000 listens to the 5 shows altogether. We really appreciate it. And everybody else.
I knew that UCLA was
all right, Brian, that is what I was saying. Yeah, because that was 69. Was that the year after the national championship game? So that would have been the 69-70 season. So their first opponent at Mackey after UCLA beat Purdue.
That might even be between. That might even have been before Walter Jordan and Eugene Walls.
Okay. All right, guys. Remember, follow Steve Risley at srisley34. You can follow me on X.
Can I make one final comment on the coaching?
Interrupt me when I'm trying to finish stuff. Shit. What?
Here's my prediction on the coaching. We have gone through 7-8 coaches.
You can
all good candidates.
Not gone through any. But,
I will take a bet from anybody that none of the people we covered are the next head coach.
Steve, that means next Monday through Friday, we are going to start doing more coaching shows. We're going to find the best AAU coach, the best JUCO coach, the best high school coach.
That's where we're going to go now.
And we're going to talk about them.
Well, then I'm in the hunt.
I heard Elon Musk has a shot.
Doge? How can we turn Doge into Coge?
We can't. All right, guys. You already heard where to follow us on X. I'm not going to repeat it again. I'm just not. But make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification on
Thank you
YouTube.
to everybody for participating.
You've already said that once and interrupted
I
me.
want to say it again. It's heartfelt.
All right, guys, we will be back Monday at 1 o'clock to look back at the Washington win and ahead to the Oregon game. All right.
Oh, no, I can't. That's Regis and Kathy Lee's post-Oscar show.
Regis and Kathy Lee are like dead, aren't
Oh,
they?
yeah, they are. But it's Kelly and Mark.
Nobody gives a shit about a bunch of pedophiles that jerk each other off for awards.
Robert agrees with me. Nobody
About
we
what?
mentioned is going to be the next coach.
I will go out on a limb and say this: TJ Otzelberger will be the new head coach.
I'll take that bet.
And I'm gonna regret it. It doesn't matter. You don't pay your bets off, so we can't.
I think it's Hoiberg. We didn't even talk about Hoiberg, and I think it's Hoiberg.
He might want to get out of Nebraska before they fire him if they don't make the tournament this year. He's made it once in 5 years.
What about Rick Carlisle? He'd be a good coach.
Is he coached in college?
He coaches the Pacers like college.
He does it, Steve. Because
he does. It's as close to a college team as there is.
All right, guys. I'm done with this shit. We're wrapping this up. For my good pastor, Steve Risley. You've been watching it.